The darkest aisle. Elisa always avoided to walk through it because it was the house's darkest aisle. Even more, her eldest brother Javier had told her so many stories about the kind and diversity of monsters and other creatures that lived there. Bodiless green hands, hairy giant spiders, or ghosts that would get into your body like the chills. That was the reason why, after dinner, Elisa would hurry up to her room without even giving a side sight to the dark aisle. One night, after eating in excess, Elisa began to hear strange noises coming from the dark aisle, like nails scratching from the wooden furniture. The green hands, she thought. The more the time ran, Elisa became more scared because the noise coming from the furniture did not stop. She did think about running to her parents' room, but it was impossible to reach her parents' room because she would have to go across the dark aisle. To go to Javier's room, no way. To go to Javier's room, she would have to go through the dark aisle. She felt so alone, like in a desert island after a shipwreck. That was the way Elisa thought about fear, like if it were a shipwreck. And to get out of that island her room had become, she had to sink into the darkness of that night and walk through the dark aisle. But she would risk to be devoured by one of the monsters that inhabited the dark aisle. What should I do? She asked herself. I must get out of here. I have to get rid of this fear, she told herself. Elisa found enough strength and got up from her bed, walked towards the door, but before she could open it, the noise coming from the furniture was heard again. So she jumped back into bed again, covering with the sheets and the blanket her whole face. The noise increased. Images of a giant green hands filled Elisa's imagination, like waves that let her not swim nor breathe. Suddenly, she took away her covers and faced the door. Determined, she turned the knob and walked out of the room. She began walking through her room's aisle, which also was dark and scary, but not as much as the other, although at this moment it appeared longer and more sinister. She walked with very small steps, trying to be unnoticed by the hands. The nearer she got, the stronger the noises. Elisa got enough strength and began walking faster towards her parents' room door. But when she was passing through the dark aisle, she felt how something was pulling her inside. But those weren't hands. It was a feeling in the belly. The ghost, she thought. Elisa walked into the aisle, turned the light on, and saw the long and dark aisle. When she could see the illuminated aisle, noted the shadow of a monster. But it was no real monster. It was a tiny mouse scratching the old furniture that belonged to Grandma. Elisa felt relieved. She understood that the monsters her brother Javier had spoken of lived only in her head. Elisa turned off the light and began walking through the aisle in darkness. She arrived to her bedroom. With decision and happiness, opened the door. She laid in her bed. The noise was heard like nothing, and it did not bother her sleep. The real monster is fear, Elisa thought to herself, and she fell to sleep.